Hi, Keel. So welcome to the Sunday night talk. And for more information, there's some links underneath the video to different stuff, private sessions, book. My next event is in Brighton on the 16th and 17th of December. And I am currently thinking of having a, not retreat, a meetup here in May or June. July and August out of the question because it's just too hot for anybody. So yeah, if people are interested in that, just ping me, and if I get enough interest, I'll set it up. Yeah, so all I want to do is go. It's wonderful. It's so wonderful. Hi, Gordon. Hi, Joe. My editor asked me to, hi, Paul. My editor asked me to talk about non-duality for people who've never heard of it, because she wants me to do something for the start of the book, because I refuse to have a story. Because the story is just so irrelevant. It's just so irrelevant. Story of Lisa. It's no different from anyone else's story. It's just a story, isn't it? So non-duality for beginners, level 1. That's the funny thing, isn't it? Because there are no levels. It can't be those who said, well, I've been looking at non-duality longer, so I know more. It's not like that, is it? It's not like that. Because nobody can get to it. Nobody can touch it. Because this one that thinks it wants to touch it or know it is totally illusory. So there are no levels in this. There is no someone who's close or someone who's not. That's just another story. So I got distracted. So non-duality for beginners. What is non-duality? See, I talk to you lot, you see. Hi, Donnie. I talk to you lot, so I don't have to explain what it is. We just go straight in there, which is great. But what is non-duality? What is it speaking of? Well, it's not a teaching. It's not about a practice. In fact, it's not about anybody who can get anywhere. It's about that this one called me is an appearance that happens in this. So it's talking about that. It's pointing to the illusion that I am a person and I can get towards freedom, or I can get towards completion or wholeness, or this story called enlightenment. Non-duality talks about the wholeness of everything, that everything is just not separate. It's just one appearance, and it doesn't appear in time. It appears here, just here, sitting on a chair, speaking to you guys. Oh, thanks, Joe. Well, gratitude to you too. Just appearing here. So it's about this illusory appearance that tries to get here when it's already here. This is everything that is being looked for. It's looking for this, but doesn't realize it because it lives in the illusion of time, in the illusion of the next moment. Hi, lovely. So you can't really say what non-duality is, because non-duality is just a a word that people use to talk about, to name this subject. You know, this is not pranayama or Advaita. And is it Advaita? I don't know. That sort of thing. Consciousness, teachings. It basically means just what is. And what is cannot be described, because describing it is also what is. It's also happening simultaneously with desk and wall and computer. You can't separate anything out. But the sense of self separates everything out. But it's not separated out. There is just a flow of life. There's nobody no longer living in time. There's nobody with a life anymore. There's no one to have a life. This one that thinks it has a life, the story of having a life is a story. Me and my life. Me and my seeking. And it's the freedom from all that. It's the freedom from having a life any longer. Nobody has a life anyway. Find your life. You'd have to find it in things, situations, objects, possessions. We think we have. We think we have possessions. Nobody has anything. No one even has a me. There are no me's. I don't see me's. I can feel the energy of a me story though. And it's hard to be around. In fact, there is a tendency after that change to spend more time, well, here anyway, I don't know about others, but just to be more alone. No more dramas. There's just what is. There's nobody in that. It's just whatever appears. There's no more feelings of having to do anything. Any sense of guilt or regret or wanting or needing. All these things are attached to the sense of being somebody, because they're all stories. And the sense of self lives in a story of its life. But there is no life. There is no life for it. There's only aliveness. It lives in wanting to go to the next meeting, reading the next book, listening to this. There's nothing wrong with any of those things, of course. It can't help it. There's a drive there because it's looking for home. But this message kind of sneaks around the back door of the sense of self. It's not heard by the sense of self. Sense of self is looking for something in it. What hears it is aliveness hearing it. It's absolutely pure in that way. It's just heard. It's nothing hearing words which are nothing. And at the same time, in this, there can be a possibility of the collapse of that sense of self, because when it's heard by no one, you can just totally dismantle the whole illusion. It's like a hologram that just falls apart. Hologram, you can put your hands through it, there's nothing there. It's the same with the sense of self, there's nothing there. Can you find it? Can you find this me? You can only find it as a story or a sense. But where is this sense? Does it have any ground? Does it have any reality? And at the same time, it is reality, appearing as that. And yet, it is an illusion. Trying to find an analogy. It's like someone believing there's a ghost in the house, because there's all this kind of banging of doors and creaking. And then someone comes along and says, well, it's just the wind. Look, I'll show you. Look, here's the wind doing it. And the whole fear and the whole story and everything just falls apart because it's revealed that it wasn't a ghost at all. It was just the wind. There was no ghost there. When the sense of self is revealed for what it is, that it's not me at all, it's not the human at all, it's nobody, it's nothing. It just collapses. And you can still remember it, kind of. I can kind of remember what it was like. It was an uncomfortable appearance. It was uncomfortable. It was a restlessness, a constant moving, a constant yearning all the time. But it's nothing. It's amazing how it makes all this drama about itself, about its life. It can be sitting in a room, making a massive drama out of something that happened yesterday. And it's not there. It's just a big drama going on. But you can't find the drama, it's just a story with a load of feelings coming up about it. It misses the obvious, and it can never see the obvious. It's always looking over it, always looking in its story to something else. It thinks that when this is revealed to me, that somehow it will know it. How can a me know this? It thinks it'll be awakened or enlightened. And it's waiting for that. It's waiting for that moment. Surely it's going to happen to me someday. Something's got to happen. I've just got to wait long enough and it will happen. And the opposite is true. It doesn't happen. It's the end of anything that happens, except for what is happening. But that's in total freefall and has no edges. There's no edges to this. Only as an appearance, they say that the end of the room is the wall. But the wall is alive. It's truly amazing. The sense of self wants that amazingness, as if like Lisa's feeling or knows some amazingness. It doesn't. It's not true. It's just amazing. But it's not personal. Nobody has this amazingness. Nothing is personal anymore. Because personal, what is personal? It's a bunch of concepts and ideas. But it's personal. I'm going to make a big drama out of it, or a story, or get in a mood or something, because it's personal to me. The me jumps to conclusions. Yeah, that's all it does, Joe. It just jumps to conclusions all the time. It's just a bunch of conclusions about nothing. It's the end of conclusions. At the end of my first book, I wrote a conclusion. There isn't any. Because there isn't. This is an absolute freefall. There's nothing to get hold of. It's beyond, 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 beyond anything that can be thought of. And yet it's totally ordinary. It's just the daily life. It's just made of aliveness. I've rambled on for 15 minutes. So you're welcome to ask questions in the chat. I don't think I did a very good non-duality for beginners there. It's really hard to talk like that. Lovely. Lisa, sometimes I wonder maybe it's better not to hear this message. It seems like life is just happening anyway. Yeah, but who could choose that? Listening to this message is life happening anyway. It wouldn't make any difference what the appearance was. It wouldn't make any difference. Nothing is better or worse. This is the end of better or worse. Nothing. All there is what is happening. So if there's listening to a talk or making a cup of tea, it doesn't matter. And there's a drive to this message as well, I think anyway. There's a drive to it. You won't be able to choose that anyway. Sebastian, can't stop being aware, but it feels not relaxed. Yeah, I would say that being aware is not very relaxed because it's being aware, isn't it? It's like being on tenterhooks in a way. It's always looking for something. It's always looking, waiting, wondering, wanting. Yeah. Lovely. I mean, what is the point even to speak about non-duality? It's like a piece in a program that wants to understand who built it. It's hopeless and useless, isn't it? Yes, it is. But it can't be helped. Can't be helped. This body turns up here at 8:30 every Sunday and just speaks. Can't be helped. There's no one to choose not to do that. There's no point to anything, but doesn't mean that it's pointless. Well, it is pointless. But there's no one to choose it. There's no one choosing to sit here listening, and there's no one choosing to sit here speaking. This is what's been spoken of. Keel, what's happening is also nothing though, right? Yeah, but that can't be. Yeah, it's everything and nothing. It's nothing because it's just bad. It's just nothing to speak of. It's nothing. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. All this whole appearance is not a thing. It's no thing appearing as everything. Sometimes I tend not to say no thing because it's what happens is the sense of self tries to get hold of the idea of nothing or no thing. Hi, Sergey. When there is no I, who feels that everything around is amazing? It's just feeling happening. See, this is the thing. We think that feeling is personal. It's like saying the plant is personal. It's like saying touching the plant, that somebody's feeling the plant. But nobody's feeling the plant. It's just the plant being touched. And when there is the, not a feeling of amazement, is it a feeling? I don't even know if it's a feeling. Amazement happens. When it happens, it's not a steady state, it's not a constant state, just sometimes amazement happens. And beauty and wonder and astonishment. But nobody's feeling it. It's like when a feeling happens there, is there somebody feeling that feeling, or is the feeling just happening? The one who is I claims that the feeling is happening to it, but it's not. You could say that other species have feelings. A dog can feel afraid, but there's no one in there feeling the fear. It's just the feeling of fear. Joe, the Tao. Is that some Eastern thing? The Tao that can be named is not the true Tao. There's no true anything, is there? There's no true anything. Find anything true. There is no true. This is the end of anything that's true. There is no truth. There's nothing. Going back to Keel. There's nothing and everything. I wish Tony hadn't named his book Nothing and Everything. I'd love to use that title for my next book. Because it's the case, but it can't be explained what that is. Because it can't be known. There's nothing here that knows that. The misconception that the sense of self has is that when somebody feels something or thinks something or anything, I'm not talking about this one, I'm talking about every human, it assumes that there's somebody who's thinking and somebody who's feeling. No, that's the one that just claims the thinking and the feeling. That illusion can collapse, and then just thinking and feeling remains. But it's not the central pivot anymore. It's just another thing that happens. Lovely. Isn't it necessary to know how to connect to the body and feelings before realizing there is no separation? People can walk very detached, so what will be the chance for them to awake to this truth? Okay, I'll do the first bit and make this a bit bigger. Blind as a bat. Okay. Isn't it necessary to know how to connect to the body and feelings before realizing there is no separation? No, because nobody realizes there is no separation. It's not the sense of self that realizes it. And it's got nothing to do with the body and the feelings. It's the collapse of an illusion. So who would connect to the body and the feelings? That would be an illusory story appearing like it's connecting to the body and connecting to the feelings. No, the feelings are just there or not there. Feelings can be repressed, but they're not repressed by anybody. It is repressed due to circumstances or whatever. People can walk very detached, so what will be the chance of them to awake to this truth? Well, they won't awaken. They won't awaken. It's just the appearance of life seeming detached. There are no rules to the end of an illusion called the me. There is no set of circumstances. It doesn't matter whether there's seeking or no seeking. It doesn't matter whether one's pissed out of their head or not, or sitting, eating raw food and doing yoga. Makes no difference. Because there is no me anyway. Hi, Alexandra. Does it always feel like death, unpleasant, before the me dies, or can it be joyful? It can be anything. It can be anything, Alexandra. I don't know. I guess that depends on the body-mind. It can be both at the same time. Here, it was very unpleasant. Yet at the same time, there'd be hysterical laughter. The ridiculousness of it all. And there'd be confusion and feeling lost. And then it was like oh, all right. But there's no set of rules for the sense of self collapsing and the experience of that happening. Someone told me that they didn't even notice it. I mean, how do you not notice it? Oh my God, it's like taking a leap from one planet into outer space. It's like two totally different realities. Hi, Claudia. Two totally different realities, and yet it's exactly the same. Now there's a paradox. Nothing changes and everything changes. It's the end of an illusory life. So mad, isn't it, that this aliveness can appear as an illusory separation and be so in it that it's so totally all-encompassing and totally believed. And it's just aliveness. I think also that it can just suddenly happen. I think that happened to Tony, didn't it? I don't know about how it was for him before that happened. But I have, but from what he says, it was just suddenly not there anymore. And that's the case, it's suddenly not there. It can't be partly there and not there. It's just either there or it's not. Two totally different things. I'm sure that if I do not drink water, it will not happen. No one will do for us what we need to do to survive. It's unclear how to decide what to do and what not to do. Well, you don't need to decide. It'll just be done. Me sitting there trying to make a decision whether it drinks water or not. The body will just get up and get the water. Try and stop it. It'll just do it. There's nobody to decide. Decisions get made. That's what apparently happens. There's nobody making the decisions. The sense of self can sit there debating on decisions, but in the end, it's just nothing. It's just nothing. Decisions get made. Try and make the decision never to get up off your chair again. It's not going to happen. The body will just get up. And the sense of self will be like, oh, I failed. I failed. Like the me trying to decide not to think anymore. As if that's anything. As if that's some sort of measurement to freedom. Not thinking. No one will do for us what we need to do to survive. No one is doing the survival. I always like to use animals as an analogy. Because we are, in a sense, an animal. I mean, we are. I mean, we're a body that eats, sleeps, lives and dies. We're an animal. So I like to use other species as an example. What is making the dog or the cat survive? There's no one in there deciding whether it's going to go and find its next meal. It just does it. And it's the same here. It just does it. Alexandra. Sometimes it is said that the me is very inconsistent. Most of the time during the day, it is not there. So in liberation, there is something more like it. It is not here, and this is recognized to be illusion. Yeah, I would say that when it's not there in the day, it's because there's distraction happening. And it's just not there. It's like when you go to sleep and there's no dreams, there's nobody there in that. And in the day, if there's no sense of self there, it's just on the back burner. It's not really the same. There are some sense of selves which are stronger than others. Sense of self is there full on all the time, very much suffering. Then there are those which have a kind of more lighter sense. You know, that's just the way it seems to appear. Lovely. Ha! It's all happening by itself, conditioning, playing the game. Yeah, conditioning happens. Yeah. Yeah. There's nobody doing the conditioning. It wasn't the me that was conditioned. It was the body-mind that was conditioned. This body-mind somehow is conditioned to really be freaked out about cockroaches. I don't know how that happened, as my daughter can just go and pick them up. It's like, how? This is just a conditioning. Or there's a conditioning here as someone who's brought up in the UK to prefer one food over another. Well, not so much now, you know, not for a long time, but there's a conditioning to prefer tea. There's a conditioning to have protocols for queuing, very British. And those protocols aren't met, it's just like, Yeah, conditioning is not a sense of self. The sense of self is the one that thinks it's conditioning. I'm freaking out also from cockroaches. Yeah. Poof. Spain's not great for cockroaches. Even the gas man plays his song when he comes round, La Cucaracha. It's just like, why? Sergey, it sounds like we do not have to work tomorrow. Do family and try to be good. Just do not get out of bed and everything will happen by itself. Well, who would decide that? No one decides that. Going to work happens. Looking after the family happens. Being the kind of human you are, whether you're a pleasant human or a confrontational human, happens. It would have to be, that would be a me story. I'm going to decide not to get out of bed. Chances are that you'll just get out of bed. There's nobody getting out of bed. It's not a decision. It just gets out of bed. It just breathes. It just takes a shower or whatever it does. There isn't anyone doing that. So to say that we don't have to do that is a me story. Everything does happen by itself. The wall is happening by itself. The body is happening by itself. The thoughts, the feelings. the life situations, the plant, the floor, is all happening by itself. The me tends to think personally about the body. It's always thinking about the body. It doesn't realize that the body is no different from the wall. And the wall is doing itself. It doesn't make decisions for the wall or think about personally about the wall, but it does about the body. That's the story it lives in. But really, it's no different. You might as well have stories about the wall. It won't make any difference to the wall or a dog or anything. Imagine transferring the story over of the sense of self to a plant. My sense of self is that plant. And you know, I can't understand this all doing itself. Who will decide that the plant will get green? The plant won't get green unless I decide to make it green. That's how absurd it is. Sergey, it would be nice if it took a shower and went to work. Oh dear. For now, it only worries and asks stupid questions. No, there's no stupid questions. No stupid questions. The questions are, you know, they're always really the same question. And there's just a response here that just comes directly when the question is read or asked. No mistakes. No mistakes. No mistakes. Only as part of a story. But in reality, there's no mistakes, Paul. Everything is utterly as it should be. It's utterly what it is. Every single nuance, every single little nuance in this appearance cannot be any other way. It's absolutely complete. How could it be a mistake? It being a mistake would be a story appearing in this, which is also not a mistake. Alexandra, is it possible to still be a me and have a sense of what is being spoken, getting clear in a way, or is it completely illusory? There'll be a sense of a self there, but you can totally get a sense of what is spoken about. Yeah, otherwise you would not be listening to this. If you didn't get a sense of what's being spoken of, you would not be here. The sense of me is just an overlay. It's like a kind of a hologram, an illusory appearance, but there's nobody there, Alexandra. There's nobody there that's listening to this. And yes, what's being spoken of can become clearer, clearer and clearer and clearer, but it's not clearer to a me. It becoming clearer is not illusory, because that's just what's happening. I talk about the sense of self being illusory because it is not a self. It is not this soul or a person. It's not a person. It's not what you are. That's why I say it's illusory. But anything that is happening is not illusory. It's just what's happening. You can't get hold of that, of course. It's too immediate. It's always changing. You can't get hold of it. But no, that's not illusory, because that's just what's happening. I can't see or hear you. I have to remember that I can't answer questions people who can't see and hear me. Last week I was telling the person to refresh their page, but she couldn't hear me. Lovely. But Lisa, can we feel our bodies? We can feel our bodies, but we cannot feel the walls. Why? That is why we are sure there is separation. Yeah, but who's feeling the body? If I went up to the wall now and felt the wall, it wouldn't be any different from feeling the body. And do we feel the body all the time? Or do we just feel the body when we notice it? Well, it's probably more true to say that during the day, that the actual what is happening is more than the feeling of the body. Because we have to kind of focus on feeling the body. I would say that most of the day here is more like words on a page. I love to read. Words on a page is more apparent than the feeling of the body. So where's the separation here? It's an idea. The separation is a concept. If you really look at it, if you look at your day, like when you're watching a movie, you're not watching a movie and sitting there feeling your body. You're just watching a movie. The movie is more immediate than the feeling of the body. But where is the separation in that? Joe, you can't escape what is happening. No, because there isn't anyone to escape it. Road Africa. The wall is part of what you are in the time. In the time. I wouldn't say it's part of what you are. It's just what is. There is nobody in relation to the wall. Someone being in relation to the wall is an illusory concept. It's just a concept created by the sense of separation. I am in relation to the wall. But there is no relation to the wall. There's just wall. As Tony would say, there's walling. There's handing. There's no separation in any of it. There's nobody who is a part of anything. There isn't anybody. There is no body. Not body. No one. No me. These are all just ideas, thoughts, feelings, just all illusory going on. And they can, because they're stressful, they can make the body feel contracted. It's stressful on the body. Alexandra, it is really crazy that it is completely wild and free, and yet appears as time, causes and consequences, continuity, making sense, possibility of me to appear, etc. It really is. It is wild. This is like a wild, raging fire. Out of control of anybody. Absolutely out of control. Feels controlled because, as you said, consequences, continuity. But where are those consequences? Where is the continuity? Only as a story. Nothing walling. Yeah, nothing walling. Nothing appears, nothing walling. This is wild, wild life. Sergey, Lisa, as far as I know, on the internet there is no single teacher of non-duality who would directly answer questions in a chat room like you. It's worth a lot. Thanks for the effort. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been doing it like this for a while now because it just has this really nice flow. Really nice flow. Yeah, and I don't really get many trolls. When I do, I just ban them. It takes me 3 seconds. Ban. And yeah, you know, I do enjoy the interaction. Sergey, each of us has a person to be here. Thanks for the help. Apparently, but it's only apparent. It's not really true. Not true. Lovely. Wahoo, this is really profound today. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you. Oh, everyone's been so nice. Oh, thanks, Trish. Joe, I'm starting to get the hang of walls for. No idea what you're talking about, Joe. Wow, 9:15 already. Road Africa. To be a wall or a blade of grass, the scene is it. That moment is it. It's beyond that actually. There is only blade of grass and wall. When they're there, there's nobody being it. That's just all there is. So you hold a blade of grass up close and you focus, you know, and you're looking at it. And there's no sense of anyone looking at it. There's just blade of grass. I think sometimes the seeker can think that when there is no more me, that somehow I go out into the blade of grass and I become it. But there's nobody who becomes. It's the unbecoming of anybody who would do that. It's way more intimate than that. It's just beyond any comprehension. And the sense of self wants what I'm saying, but I don't have it. You won't have it. No one has it. It is absolutely everything. There is nothing separate. There's nothing separate in this appearance. Gmail, you have no trolls, you have me. Yeah, but there's an earnestness in you. You're not a troll. You just, I sense, you know, when I answer your questions, you know, like the last time, I sense an honesty in them. It's different. Alexandra, there are some types of thought patterns that drop after. Are there some type of thought patterns that drop after liberation? I would say after there is no me. Yeah. All the stories about me are completely gone. Me and my life, me and my past, me and my future, me. All of those totally gone. Everything just goes at the same time. Hi, CDD. Could the conditioned body-mind put an end to the personalization of everything? The grasping of the sense of self to drama, etc.? I wouldn't say of everything. I guess there could be, the body-mind could go through a process of letting go a lot of the stories. I mean, that happens, right? People get older, people mellow with age, as they say. A lot of those old stories just drop away naturally. Or people make the concerted effort to recover from things, from traumas and stuff like that. But it's not the end of the sense of separation. There'll just be less drama. And that's a good thing, you know. Who wants to be in that drama all the time? Pain. Drama llama. Yeah, so when all those stories drop, so does all the sense of guilt, regret, worry. Yeah, all those things. It is a lot. It's a lot. That's why I was saying it's like two separate realities. One has all this stuff in it, all those personal stories of me and what's happened to my body and other people's bodies and how that's about me, to the end of it. The me appearance would not want what's being spoken of here. Wouldn't want it. It's too impersonal. Gets threatened. It would be totally threatened by it. But it can never see it anyway, so. But the clarity, as someone was saying earlier, about what is being spoken of, is definitely can appear. The clarity, like, yeah. I remember when the sense of self here was, uncertain. And I'd go and listen to Tony, who was my absolute favorite. And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Of course. There's an of course, isn't there? Yes. And then the sense of self will get hold of that and try to own it or try to find something in it. It'll make something up about it. But the clarity is not the sense of self. Sense of self will never have clarity about what has been spoken of here. It'll just make more stories about it. That's all it does. It has to have stories. Can't exist without stories. Even if there's an end to dramatic stories, it'll find something else. Always does. CDD, seeing through the conditioning to the clarity sounds great. Seeing through the conditioning. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'll try and interpret what I think I see there in your statement. Clarity just happens. Clarity just happens. It's not anybody seeing the clarity. It's not the me who is clear. It's not the me who cognizes. It's cognizing happening. It's aliveness appearing as cognizing. That's why people say recognizing. It's recognizing. Alexandra, I love this message. Yeah. It's flipping amazing. Oh, it's so amazing. Because it's so crazy and wild. So crazy and wild. I love it. It's got nothing stable about it. There's nothing certain about anything that's been spoken of here. Even the sense of clarity can just be there and then it's gone because everything is just totally falling away all the time. Nothing can be touched. Nothing can be got hold of. This has no ground. This is groundless. Groundless and boundless. Okay, I have 6 minutes. CDD. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's just great. You know, a response just comes out. Road Africa. To see your body as part of the whirlpool of nature, just hold on, enjoy the ride and views. No, it's the end of anything that can hold on. It's the end of that. There is only nature left. There's no one holding on. It's just the end of it. It's the end of it. It's just all blasting into this. It's just all nothing appearing as absolutely everything. Hey, Chris. I was thinking this morning about everything that exists in duality, positive, negative, hot, cold, light, dark. Yeah, well, everything appears. All the appearances are alive. Absolutely life, all of it. All the apparent duality, which is not duality at all, just appears that way. If it can be said to exist, it must have a duality. If it is said to exist, it must have a duality. It can be said to exist. I can't get my head around that. If it can be said to exist. Yeah, but the saying exists, is it too? Duality is a story. It's the story of the world, but it all happens simultaneously. So that which is non-dual cannot be said to exist or not exist. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I see what you're getting at. It exists and it doesn't exist. It's a paradox that can never be explained, because explaining it and hearing it would be it as well. Alexandra, does it help to see the suffering in the grasping? Or would it be another me strategy, grasping for this understanding, grasping leads to suffering? Yeah, it would still be another me concept or story. Because nothing can get the me closer to this, because it does not exist as a real person. It's just an appearance. Road Africa, I don't hold on. Alexandra, like at some point the me is so bothered to suffer that it lets go. I don't know if there's no real rule in that. That might be that might be somebody's story. Well, there isn't a me anyway. You see, this thing about the me not being there anymore is also a story. And there's no rules to it not being there. Physical death, perhaps. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Just someone could get in before you and they don't see it. Oh, thank you, Sergey. Yeah, I love it too. Yeah, thanks. CDD. Yes, my illusory me. My illusory me. See how that sounds? is highly bothered by suffering, and sometimes, and something should snap on its own. Yeah, well, that's its story, you see. That's its story. That's another kind of a hope, really, that it should snap on its own. And it never sees that it's being highly bothered and suffering is the aliveness. Is it? Is it? And yet it's totally illusory. It's apparent, but it's not solid. It's not who you are. You're not anybody. You're not a person. You're just life appearing. Life appearing. This is it. Yeah. Stories be gone. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Road Africa. Joe, stop jumping to conclusions on who you think you are. But yeah, but who would do that? That would still be the story, Joe. It'd just be the same appearance. Everything is the same appearance. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. And I definitely won't be here midweek because my parents are coming tomorrow. But I will definitely be here next Sunday night because they'll be gone by then. And have a great week, everyone. And thank you for joining me. And thank you for all your really wonderful questions and comments. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Lots of love. Bye.